September 17, Dubai International Airport. A Ukrainian film crew boards their flight back to Kiev. They're exhausted but satisfied. 2 weeks of filming wrapped successfully. But they're missing someone. Their lead actress. 26-year-old Katia Volkov. The director tries calling her. Straight to voicemail. He checks with the production coordinator. No one's seen her since yesterday afternoon. She said she had a private meeting and would meet them at the airport. She never showed up. By November 6th, when Katia still hasn't contacted anyone, her family files a missing persons report with Ukrainian authorities. By November 10th, Dubai police begin investigating. By November 13th, they find her body, buried in the desert, 40 kilometers outside Dubai, strangled, decomposed, barely identifiable. The last person she was seen with? A man who identified himself as Sheikh Rashid bin Khalid, a member of Dubai's royal family, a powerful, untouchable billionaire. Welcome to Secret Witness, the channel where we uncover crime, betrayal, and the darkest secrets people try to hide. Every day we bring you gripping true crime-inspired stories that will shock you, haunt you, and make you question what really happens behind closed doors. So before we dive into today's chilling story, make sure you subscribe and ring the bell icon, so you'll never miss a single twist. Except he wasn't a sheik. He wasn't royalty. He was a con artist named Ahmed Hassan who'd been impersonating wealthy Emiratis for years, luring women to Dubai, exploiting them, and disposing of them when they became inconvenient. And he's still out there. Because money, connections, and corruption let him disappear before justice could touch him. How do you verify someone's identity when they have the wealth to fake anything? When someone shows up in a Rolls-Royce surrounded by bodyguards, wearing traditional Emirati dress, claiming to be royalty, how do you prove they're lying? And when you realize the truth, how do you escape a country where that person has enough money and power to make you vanish? Hit that subscribe button, drop a comment telling us where you're watching from. Because what you're about to hear is a warning for every actor, model, influencer, or creative professional who gets offered work in Dubai or any place around the world. And to be very honest, we're not saying securing job offers and opportunities outside your home country is bad. Because even in your home country anything can happen. The message is we all have to be very careful of predators hiding in human flesh. Behind the luxuries and opportunities, predators are hunting. And the system protects them, not you. Katia Volkov was born in Lviv, Ukraine in 1997. She grew up during Ukraine's difficult transition years, but her family was stable. Her father was an engineer, her mother a nurse. They weren't wealthy, but they valued education and encouraged Katia's creativity. From childhood, Katia was drawn to performance, school plays, dance recitals. By her teens, she was taking acting classes and auditioning for local theater productions. She was talented, really talented. By 20, she'd landed roles in Ukrainian television shows. By 23, she was appearing in independent films. She wasn't famous internationally, but in Ukraine's entertainment industry, she was a rising star. Katia was beautiful, blonde hair, striking features, expressive eyes. She had that rare combination of classical beauty and raw talent that made directors take notice. But Ukraine's entertainment industry was limited. The pay was low. Opportunities were scarce. And in 2022, when Russia invaded Ukraine, the industry essentially collapsed. By 2023, Katia was struggling. Work had dried up. She was living with her parents again, taking odd jobs to survive. She desperately wanted to rebuild her career, but opportunities in war-torn Ukraine were nearly impossible to find. That's when the breakthrough she had been waiting for came. August 28, 2023. Katia received an email from someone named Layla Al-Mansouri, claiming to be a casting director for a production company called Adherence Film Productions. The email was professional. Well written. It said, "We are producing a romantic drama filming in Dubai, and we are looking for Eastern European actresses for lead roles. We have seen several of your work online and we are very impressed. Would you be interested in auditioning? The pay is $15,000 for 2 weeks of filming, plus accommodation in a luxury hotel, all expenses paid, and business class flights. We would really love to hear from you, as production has started already. We are only waiting to get the actresses for the lead roles. Thank you." Signed, management. It was surreal. I mean, who would see this and think otherwise, considering the fact that you've been stranded for a very long time now? And to be very honest, you need this to spring you back up. Having gone through several ups and downs and finally an offer like this landed, this was a blessing many of us would thank God for. "God, this is it. Thank you," she said within her. "I'm so happy." But beneath that happiness, Katia was still very skeptical. Then she researched Emirates Film Productions. They had a legit website, an active Instagram page with behind-the-scenes photos and clips from previous projects, and listings on film industry databases. She responded cautiously. Layla sent her slides to prepare for a video audition. Katia recorded herself performing the scenes and sent them back. 3 days later, Layla responded. They loved her audition. The role was hers if she wanted it. Contract attached. Flight booked for September 1st. Katia showed the contract to her parents. Her father was happy. Seeing his daughter finally gets to achieve her big dreams, but on the other end he still felt an iota of doubt if this was 100% legit. Her mother was also very happy but couldn't help the worries. Besides, Katia has never left their sight. It felt so new and big. It was a really tough decision to make, but Katia needed this. "Is real. I'm really here." Her mother smiled but looked worried. "Be careful, Katia. Stay in touch every day." Katia promised she would. The next day, Katia met the film crew. About 15 people: director, cinematographer, production staff. A mix of nationalities. Everyone seemed professional. The director, a man named Youssef, explained the project. A romantic drama about a Ukrainian woman who falls in love with an Emirati businessman. Classic cross-cultural love story. They'd be filming at various locations around Dubai. Luxury hotels, desert landscapes, the marina. The other actors were mostly local or expat performers. Everyone seemed legitimate. Katia felt relieved. This was real work. Real opportunity. Everything was moving smoothly. Katia worked hard. The filming was demanding but fulfilling. She was performing again. Creating art. Making money. She stayed in touch with her family regularly. Sent photos from set. Told them about the incredible locations and the professional crew. Everything seemed perfect. About the 9th day into filming, Katia met him. They were filming at a luxury hotel in Jumeirah. During a break, a man approached the set. He was dressed in traditional Emirati clothing, pristine white kandura, gold-trimmed bisht. He was surrounded by 4 men who appeared to be bodyguards or assistants. Youssef, the director, immediately became deferential. He greeted the man respectfully, gesturing for him to come closer. The man introduced himself to Katia as Sheikh Rashid bin Khalid. He said he was a patron of the arts, a supporter of Emirates Film Productions, and he'd been following the production with interest. He spoke perfect English with a slight British accent, educated, refined. He complimented Katia's performance, said he'd watched some of the dailies and was impressed by her talent. Katia was flattered. And a bit starstruck. She'd never met actual royalty before. Sheikh Rashid asked if she was enjoying Dubai. Katia said yes, it was incredible. He offered to show her the real Dubai, places tourists never see. Said he'd be honored to be her host. Katia hesitated. But Youssef encouraged her. It's a great honor, he said. Sheikh Rashid is very influential. This could be good not just for you but also for your career." Katia agreed. They exchanged numbers. Sheikh Rashid said he'd arrange something special. Over the next few days, Katia saw Sheikh Rashid often. First, he took her to dinner at Pier Sheikh, one of Dubai's most exclusive restaurants. They arrived in a Rolls-Royce. The staff treated him like royalty. The bill was easily $2,000. Sheikh Rashid paid without blinking. Second, he took her on a private yacht cruise around the Palm Jumeirah. Just the two of them and a small crew. He was charming, attentive, interested in her life and her dreams. Third, he took her to his palace, a massive estate in Emirates Hills, Dubai's most exclusive neighborhood. The property was unbelievable. Marble everywhere. Gold fixtures. Art that looked museum quality. Sheikh Rashid gave her a tour. He showed her his car collection. Ferraris, Lamborghinis, a Bugatti. He showed her his private cinema, his indoor pool, his falconry. And he gave her gifts. Expensive jewelry. Designer handbags. Cash, $5,000 just handed to her in an envelope. "For your family back in Ukraine," he said. "I know things are difficult there." Katia was overwhelmed. She'd never experienced this level of wealth. And Sheikh Rashid seemed genuinely kind. Interested in her as a person, not just as a pretty face. But there was something else. Something she couldn't quite articulate. A feeling that beneath the charm and generosity, something was off. Why is he doing all these? She asked herself one night in her hotel room, after she took a chilling bath to cool off from the day. But it wasn't an answer she could have known. So she just sat, took her phone, glanced through her rolls and smiled as she was watching Netflix and had a glass cup of an expensive wine Sheikh Rashid earlier ordered for her. "Before we proceed, kindly tell us if you're still here with us." But something was off. She might not have noticed these because she was in it, she was living the moment. It wasn't easy to discern, but there were signs. Small things that didn't add up. Sheikh Rashid never appeared in any Dubai society photos or media coverage. For someone supposedly from a royal family, he had almost no public presence. He was discreet about his background. When Katia asked about his family, he'd change the subject. When she asked about his businesses, he'd give non-specific answers about investments and real estate. His palace had very few personal touches. No family photos. No evidence anyone actually lived there. It felt more like a show home than a residence. And his bodyguards never wore official security uniforms. They dressed like regular men in suits. No royal insignia. No official anything. But Katia ignored these warning signs. Because Sheikh Rashid was so convincing. So charming. So generous. And because she wanted to believe this was real. That she'd been discovered by someone powerful. That her life was changing for the better. By the next few days, the film production was wrapping up. Most of the principal photography was complete. The crew was preparing to return to their respective countries. Katia was supposed to fly back to Ukraine on September 19th with the rest of the Ukrainian crew members. But on 17th of September, Sheikh Rashid asked to see her. He said he had something important to discuss. Something that could change her life. Katia agreed to meet him the day before her flight. She told her mother about the meeting during their daily FaceTime call. Her mother asked, "Who is this sheikh? Why does he want to see you alone?" Katia said, "Mama, don't worry. He's been nothing but respectful. Maybe he wants to offer me more work. Maybe he knows people in Hollywood." Her mother said, "I don't like this, Katia. Come home. You can always come back to Dubai later if needed." Katia said, "One more meeting. Then I'll be on the plane tomorrow. I promise." It was the last conversation they ever had. The next day, Katia went to meet Sheikh Rashid at his estate in Emirates Hills. She told her roommate, another actress from the production, that she'd be back in a few hours, that she'd meet everyone at the airport the next morning. A car picked her up at 6 p.m. The same Rolls-Royce she'd ridden in before. The same driver. She arrived at the estate at 6:30 p.m. Sheikh Rashid greeted her warmly. He led her inside through the opulent rooms to a private sitting area. Then his demeanor changed. He told Katia he'd fallen in love with her, that he wanted her to stay in Dubai, to become his mistress. He'd give her an apartment, a car, an allowance. She'd never have to worry about money again. Katia was shocked. She said, "I can't do that. I'm not that kind of woman. I have a career, a family, a life." Sheikh Rashid's expression hardened. He said, "You've been accepting my gifts for weeks, enjoying my hospitality. Don't you think you owe me?" Katia stood up. "Owe you? I don't owe you anything, Sheikh," she said calmly. "Please, I'm going home tomorrow." That's when Sheikh Rashid revealed his true nature. "Yes, you owe me," he yelled as his demeanor changed instantly. "You belong to me now, Katia. And you try to force it, I'll make sure you regret it." Katia was stunned. She'd never seen this version of him. And there was nothing she could do. She tried to reach for her phone in her purse, probably trying to call the police. But his bodyguards immediately collected her bag, took the phone and smashed it to the ground. She shouted in shock, "Please stop, Sheikh, please, I'm sorry, I'll pay whatever you want, please just let me go, please, I beg you." But then he was not the human she'd expected he'd be. What happened over the next several hours is unclear. But based on forensic evidence later found on her body, investigators believe she was held against her will, assaulted, and ultimately strangled. By the time the sun rose, Katia Volkov was dead. And Sheikh Rashid, or whoever he really was, had already begun covering his tracks. When Katia didn't show up at the airport the day she promised she would, her crew members were concerned but not panicked. They thought maybe she'd missed her flight. Maybe she'd decided to stay a few extra days. But when they tried calling her, her phone went straight to voicemail. Messages went undelivered. After they arrived, they were expecting her call after a day, but nothing came in. They tried reaching to her again, but all to no avail. They knew something was wrong. They contacted the Ukrainian embassy in Dubai. The embassy contacted Katia's family in Ukraine. Her mother, Irina, immediately knew this wasn't like Katia. She would never disappear without contacting her family. Something was off. Ukrainian authorities pressured Dubai police to investigate. Dubai police officially opened a missing persons case. They interviewed the film crew. Everyone mentioned Sheikh Rashid, the man who'd been courting Katia, the last person she'd gone to see. Police tried to locate Sheikh Rashid bin Khalid. They contacted the royal family office. The response was clear. There is no Sheikh Rashid bin Khalid in the Dubai royal family. That person doesn't exist. That's when investigators realized Sheikh Rashid was a fake, an imposter. They pulled security footage from the hotel where Katia had been staying. They tracked the Rolls-Royce that had picked her up. The car was registered to a luxury car rental company. The rental was paid for by a shell company. The address led to a fake office. The trail went cold. For 6 weeks, Katia's family lived in agonizing uncertainty. Was she alive? Being held somewhere? Trafficked? They couldn't figure out what had really gone wrong. On the November 13th, a construction crew working on a development project in the desert outside Dubai found something horrifying. A shallow grave containing human remains. DNA testing confirmed it was Katia Volkov. Cause of death, strangulation. Time of death, approximately 6 weeks prior. Her body had been buried in the desert, 40 kilometers from the city, in an area with no surveillance cameras. The forensic evidence told a brutal story. Katia had fought for her life. She'd been restrained, assaulted, strangled slowly. Her body had been wrapped in plastic and buried hastily. As investigators dug deeper, they uncovered the truth about Sheikh Rashid. His real name was Ahmed Hassan. He was a 42-year-old Egyptian national who'd been living in Dubai for 15 years. He wasn't royalty. He was a con artist. Ahmed had a long history of impersonating wealthy Emiratis. He'd rent luxury properties short-term, lease expensive cars, and create an illusion of wealth and power. He targeted foreign women, models, actresses, influencers, who came to Dubai for work. His pattern was consistent. Approach them at events or shoots. Pose as royalty or a wealthy businessman. Seduce them with luxury and gifts. Then propositions them to become his mistress. If they refused, he became violent. Dubai police discovered Ahmed had been investigated before. 3 other women, a Russian model, a Lebanese actress, and a Filipino influencer, had reported similar encounters with a man matching his description. But those cases had gone nowhere due to lack of evidence and Ahmed's ability to disappear and reinvent himself. Kadia wasn't his first victim. She was just the first one whose body was found. The investigation revealed Ahmed didn't work alone. Emirates Film Productions was real, but it was a front company. The director, Youssef, and several crew members were part of the operation. Their role was to identify vulnerable foreign actresses, bring them to Dubai, and introduce them to Ahmed. They'd vouch for him, encourage the women to trust him. In exchange, Ahmed paid them commissions. Essentially, they were trafficking women to a predator. When police raided the production company's office, they found evidence of at least 7 other women who'd been brought to Dubai under similar circumstances. 3 were confirmed dead. 4 were missing. By the time Dubai police had enough evidence to arrest Ahmed Hassan, he was gone. He'd fled Dubai on a private flight to Egypt, just 1 day after Kadia's disappearance was first noticed. From Egypt, he vanished. Investigators believe he used his network of criminal contacts to obtain fake documents and flee to a country without extradition treaties, possibly Sudan, Libya, or Yemen. Interpol issued a red notice. UAE authorities requested extradition. But Ahmed Hassan had money, connections, and years of experience evading law enforcement. He's still at large. Still wanted. Still dangerous. Kadia Volkov was 26 years old. She was talented, ambitious, and trying to rebuild her life after war destroyed her country's entertainment industry. She made one mistake, trusting someone who looked wealthy and powerful. And it cost her everything. If you're offered work in Dubai, UAE, or any Middle Eastern country, verify the production company is legitimate, not just a website, but actual industry credentials. Research the people you'll be working with, real names, real companies, verifiable backgrounds. Never meet investors or patrons alone, especially offset. Be suspicious of anyone claiming to be royalty or extremely wealthy. Don't accept expensive gifts from people you barely know. Stay in contact with family daily. If something happens, they need to know immediately. Register with your embassy when you arrive. Trust your instincts. If someone feels fake, they probably are. Red flags Kadia missed. Sheikh Rashid had no verifiable public presence. He was vague about his background and family. His property looked staged, not lived in. His bodyguards had no official security credentials. He isolated her from her crew and friends. He pressured her into private meetings. He gave expensive gifts early on, grooming behavior. The ugly truth about Dubai. Impersonating royalty is common among scammers. Luxury rentals and cars create convincing illusions. Foreign victims have limited legal protections. Corruption protects wealthy criminals. Many crimes against foreign women go unreported. Bodies disappear into the desert. If your daughter or anyone around you is traveling for work opportunities abroad, demand full details about employers and accommodations. Stay in daily contact, video calls, not just texts. Know where embassies are located. Have emergency contacts and evacuation plans. Trust your instincts. If something feels wrong, demand she come home. Kadia's mother begged her not to go to that final meeting. Kadia went anyway because she didn't want to seem paranoid or miss an opportunity. She never came home. Drop warning: if you've ever been offered work abroad that seemed too good to be true. Drop broken heart: if you know someone who traveled for work and had a bad experience. Drop folded hands: if you're sharing this to warn someone in the entertainment or modeling industry. Share this video. Every actress, model, influencer, or creative professional considering work in Dubai needs to see this warning. Ahmed Hassan is still out there. Still posing as someone wealthy. Still targeting vulnerable women. Still killing when they say no. Don't be his next victim. Subscribe and turn on notifications. Every day we expose predators, protect creatives, and tell stories that could save your life. This has been Secret Witness, True Crime Stories, where we make sure the dead get justice and the living stay safe. Kadia Volkov deserved better. Her family deserves justice. And Ahmed Hassan deserves to rot in prison. But until he's caught, all we can do is warn others. Stay skeptical. Stay safe. And remember, real opportunities don't require you to meet powerful men alone in their mansions. If it looks like a trap, it is a trap.